Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping into the pretty wild world of meme coins.
Yeah, definitely wild.
You've probably been hearing about them. Maybe you're curious about the crazy gains people talk about, or maybe just a bit skeptical, which is fair.
Totally fair. They often start as jokes, right? So skepticism is natural.
Exactly. So what we want to do today is explore one specific take on, well, how you might try to navigate this space. It's famously volatile.
Right. And you've shared some material with us, transcripts from a YouTube channel, Jeet Crypto.
Yeah.
So our mission here is really to dig into the methods presented there for maybe finding promising meme coins early, and crucially, how this source suggests managing the, frankly, huge risks.
Okay, let's do it. So the video kicks off with a pretty bold statement, doesn't it? Talking about a meme coin super cycle.
Oh yeah, the whole chance to experience a totally different life angle and definitely hooks you.
And then it drops names we've seen around PBE, Whitebot F,
Black.
sharing stories of like $10 turning into hundreds of thousands, maybe millions.
Mm-hmm. It almost sounds like lottery ticket stories.
That's what I was thinking. It has that vibe.
It really does. And you absolutely need to keep a level head with claims like that.
Right.
But to be fair, the video does then try to outline an actual approach.
Okay.
And it's interesting because it sort of throws typical investment analysis out the window from the start.
Right. That's the part about focusing on quantity over fundamentals. What does that even mean here? Usually fundamentals are key.
Well, yeah, normally you'd look at tech, the team, use case, all that.
Right.
But here, the quantity over fundamentals idea seems to acknowledge just how ephemeral these things are.
Okay.
The thinking is, like, so many pop up and die, your best shot is to look at a whole bunch really early.
So spread betting almost.
Kind of. The logic is pretty blunt. Most will fail, go to zero, as they say.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, a tiny percentage will catch on and give you those, 5x, 10x, even 100x returns.
Huh. So it's a numbers game, basically admitting most are duds but hoping for one rocket.
That seems to be the core idea, yeah. Increasing your odds by playing the field, so to speak.
All right, so if it's a numbers game, how does the video suggest finding those potential rockets within the crowd? This is where the whale tracking comes in, right?
Exactly. That's presented as the main strategy here, following the big players, the whales, to see what they're buying early on.
Okay, how? What's the process? They mentioned DEX tools.
Yeah, step one involves using DEX tools. Think of it as like a scanner for decentralized exchanges, where lots of these new coins first appear.
Gotcha. So it shows you what's trending, what's getting attention.
Precisely. Trading activity, price movers. The video used PopCat as an example. Mentioned it's, what, $1.23 billion market cap at the time, which is huge for a meme coin.
Okay, so we're on DEX tools. We see Poppy Gods is hot. Then what? How do we track the whales?
Right, so you go to the holders section for that coin on DEX tools. It lists all the addresses holding the token, rank by amount.
Okay.
But here's a key step. The video says ignore the top 3 or 4 addresses.
Why is that?
Well, think about it. Those are probably the creators' wallets or the main liquidity pools for the exchange.
Ah, right. The plumbing, not necessarily active investors making bets. Makes sense.
Exactly. Their holdings aren't really indicative of like individual investment decisions. So the strategy is to look at the next tier down, the actual whales.
And what are we looking for in their wallets?
You dive into those whale wallets and see what else they're holding. The video gave examples, right?
Yeah, one poppy cat whale also had $1 million in some token called Hihu, and another smaller one.
And another whale holding things called Fartcoin, Katana, USAB Row. I mean, the names themselves tell a story.
Right. So the idea is if these big poppy cat holders are also buying these smaller, newer coins, maybe those are the next ones to watch.
That's the assumption, that these whales did some research or have some insight, and their smaller bets might be early indicators. You're following their digital footsteps, essentially.
It feels very investigative, almost like crypto sleuthing.
It is quite active, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they introduce another tool to go deeper, GMG4.ai.
Okay, what does that add?
So GMG4.ai is supposedly for more detailed tracking of a specific whale. You find their public address on DEX tools,
Copy it.
paste it into GMG4.ai, and it claims to give you a dashboard for that wallet.
A dashboard showing what exactly?
Well, the video mentioned seeing things like their unrealized profit, gave an example of like $4 million up.
Wow.
And also their recent trades. It pointed out one whale buying Grass token, selling Wife just days before. So near real-time activity monitoring.
That's incredibly specific. And the creator said they track like 10, 15 wallets this way.
Yeah, trying to catch those early entries.
And they even offer a list of whale addresses. That sounds convenient, but also who vetted that list?
That's a very fair point. A pre-made list is easy, but you're relying on someone else's curation. Doing your own digging based on the method seems more robust, perhaps. But yeah, the core strategy is this active tracking.
Okay, so we've got the discovery part. Watch the whales using these tools. But meme coins are notorious for crashing, right? So risk management must be huge.
Absolutely critical, and the video is very direct about this. It hammers home one main rule,
Which is?
because these tokens have, basically zero fundamental value backing them.
Right.
You have to protect your initial investment. The rule they give is, as soon as your investment doubles, hits 2x, you take your original money out, your principal. No exceptions.
Okay, can you walk through the example they used? The $100 one.
Sure. So say you put $100 into a meme coin, the price pumps, it doubles, your $100 is now worth $200.
Okay.
The strategy says right then, you sell $100 worth and withdraw that cash. That was your initial stake. You got it back.
Gotcha. So you're playing with profit now.
Exactly. You're left with $100 worth of the coin that's the house money, as they say. You can let that ride, hope it goes up more, but your original capital is safe. You can't lose your starting money anymore.
That takes discipline, especially if you see it going parabolic. But it makes sense. De-risk immediately.
That's the core principle. Protect the principal, let the profits run if you choose to. It removes the initial risk from the equation.
And then, after stressing the risk management, the video circles back to the upside potential.
Right. It ends on that optimistic note, suggesting a well-chosen coin, one the whales are into, could still potentially hit, 50x or even 100x returns.
Giving numbers.
Huge numbers. And look, while those kinds of gains can happen in this space,
Yeah.
it is absolutely vital for everyone listening to remember they are not guaranteed. Far from it. And the risk of losing everything you put in is very, very real.
Good point. Okay, so wrapping this up, our deep dive into this JEET crypto material basically outlined a very active strategy for meme coins.
Yeah, high risk, high reward, focused on watching whale wallets using tools like DEX tools and GMG4.ai.
And coupled with that strict rule, take your initial investment out at 2x.
That's the package presented. It's one specific way to approach a very chaotic market. Definitely puts the focus on market activity and big player moves over anything else.
So as you digest all of that, maybe a final thought to chew on, thinking about this whole whale tracking strategy. What do you see as the real advantages? But maybe more critically, what are the biggest pitfalls or, the inherent dangers of trying to play follow the leader in the wild west of crypto?
Definitely something worth pondering.
Lots to think about there. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.